Everything's gone quiet.
Because you're now live. Today we are on week 3 with Camilla Mindegrenet, who is going to be talking to us today about psychology and the unconscious bias. So as part of your Introbiz membership, we ask our members sometimes to come on and give keynote speaking spots, or as Camilla has already got a workshop, she's given us 5 weeks of a workshop on her business as well. So Camilla Mindegrenet, today I'm really looking forward to this because I love psychology and I love people, and I love to work out how people are thinking and things like that. Sometimes, most of the time I am wrong, but it is interesting to find out how people are thinking. So without further ado, we're on week 3 of with Camilla Mindegrenet of psychology and the unconscious bias. So over to you, Camilla.
Thank you very much, Heather. I wish I had hours. I'm also very interested and passionate about this psychology behind everything, behind gender equality, diversity, and inclusion. But I have like 20 minutes, so I'm going to give you a base. You see my presentation? Yeah.
Yes, we see it.
So I have all the warm welcome everybody. My name is Camilla Mindegrenet, and I'm a values and a culture expert for progressive leaders and organizations. And I do that through knowledge, trainings, workshop, coaching, mentorship program, and with a process for gender equality, diversity, and inclusion. And this is a very huge, big area. And today I'm going to give you, the first time I gave you the background and that we are in a win-win situation if we work on this. And it's profit the companies, the individuals, the leadership, the companies, and it's so much positive that comes up with it on all level. Last time I talked about the norms and the powers that's in the norms, because when we start to work with gender equality, diversity, and inclusion, I feel like I always have to give a training to put on a base to build the changes on later, because there's a lot of people that have opinions about gender equality, diversity, and inclusion. And we used to say that it's not a question about opinion, it's a question about knowledge. And so today I'm going to talk about the psychology and the unconscious bias. That is quite interesting. And even if you're not into working in an organization, this is very good to be aware of, even if your private life. So let's go on. And I help as a consultant. I help leaders, help you as a leader and your business to create most well-being working places and environment that attract and retains diverse kinds of talents that you need to be the successful business for the future. And it's so much services that shows that, and the development goes more and more. And I heard the news this morning that Sweden now, because I'm from Sweden, I should say that too, companies start to hire it again, but they have more and more difficulties. They realize that difficult to hire talents and the right persons, and to find the right persons with the right skills to the organizations. So then it's going to be even more important that you create a working environment and the culture that attracts those people. Because if you're going to be the company that want to attract them, you need to build a working environment that attracts them. And we know that people gets more and more value driven. And we know that also that young people gets more and more value driven. So nowadays it's going to be much more, and in the future, much more important for the persons that know they have a value for the organizations, they're going to pick the organizations and the employer where they know that it's going to be a well-being working place, where it's going to be an environment where they have the same opportunities as anyone else, that has a culture that is included, there is transparent with the career and the development and educations and so on. So this is a very, very hot topic right now, and has been for a while, but it's going to be even more important for companies and leaders in the future. Because growth strategy for the future, workplaces that are inclusive and where there is diversity has a better working environment, attract talents, make better decisions, and have higher innovation. And as I talked about the first time, it gives higher profit. And this is just a fast repetition of the other two sessions. And it's about, if you're thinking about, if you have a big problem and you have to solve it, and you have the same people in your group, in your executive board, that is exactly as you are, have the same way of thinking of solutions challenge, you're going to see one way to go, but you're going to miss out from so much. And if you put in a diverse group, that if you build up a diversity working environment, a diversity groups, that's including also, then you're going to see much more opportunities. You're going to see a different way to lose the challenge, and you're also going to see at the market in a much better way, because you're going to because the market is not often homogeneous, they are often diverse. But it's like norm, and this is the word I always have problems to pronounce. Prejudice. Do I say that's clear?
Yeah,
there you go. Yes. Some words is so hard to
prejudice.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Prejudice.
A little bit. Oh, almost right.
Okay.
So norms, prejudices, and unconscious bias make us miss out from lucrative diversity and all the profit that comes with it. And now today, I'm psychology and unconscious bias. Maybe I think I'm going to stop sharing and just talk. I just had one picture last week also when I had my main subject, but you were just looking at the PowerPoint, so I was thinking about maybe it's better to see each other. Okay, so what is it with the psychology behind? Because this is not easy. It's not an easy fix, then we had already done it. It's not an easy fix because then everyone had understood it. And it's not an easy fix because it needs to be, you need to work with it active. So how is about the psychology and the unconscious bias? You see, when we have about 1 million expressions every second that goes into our brain, but the brain can just process like 40, 50 of them. So you can imagine the differences between them. And you can imagine when you go in a city with a lot of cars and with a lot of people, with a lot of flashing lights, ads and everything that's up there, people, traffic and everything. You should be crazy. We cannot survive if we process everything consciously. We need to put something away, but still we need to act on certain things, like move for a car or go when it's green light, and move when it comes person you need to go around or something. You have to stop walking when the door is not open up yet. And you don't think about it. Like when you're driving a car and everything, it goes in your unconscious mind. So all the information that we cannot process consciously, we put it in a subconscious mind. And and how we look at the world, it's depending on who we are. We interpreted. Do you say that, Claire?
Interpreted,
yeah. Interpreted everything from who we are, from the experience we have since we were a child, what our knowledge is, experience, and the culture we are growing up in everything. We look at the world from the persons who we are, and we are different persons, so we look at things in different ways. And of course, in a similar group that people look like me, we interpreted the world from the same way of thinking and see at it. But still, it's very different from people to people. And this is so much information. So the further a person is from you, who you are, and the further the situation is from where you used to be, the brain takes a shortcut. And it makes this very like process the information, and it process, and it's like it's getting much more like easier to do. The brain wants to do stereotypes from it because it cannot take all the information that gives, so it gives stereotyping it, and it puts homogeneous characteristics to it. And therefore you very easily stereotypize people or situation because the brains take a shortcut to it. And it's also like the more you look like a person, if we're going into talk about the persons when you meet people, the further away the person is from who you are and from you are used to meet, the brain take a shortcut and make very easier stereotypes of it. And it put that person in another group and put also homogeneous like attribute to that person. And the further the person is away from you and what you used to meet and be around, also put much easier, poor, automatic, negative attribute to that person. And if the person are more like you, your brain put automatic, put positive attribute to that person. So, and you're not even aware of this, because this is all the information that gone back in your unconscious mind. And the process that works there is, as I said, it's a process depending of your experience from you were a child, your experience of life and who you are, the values that you have and what you used to see and not used to see. And it's just automatic. The problem is that these feelings, this positive and negative attributes, the brains put feelings in your body and you get very comfortable. You feel very, you put this nice attribute to other person, and then you open up and be more welcome to that person. And you don't do this, and you are not aware of that you're doing it because it's a familiar person. It's the same situation. You don't know anything about the person you have in front of you. And it's the same when you see a person that's very far away from you. You put negative attribute to that person. It gives you a feeling in your body that you should be a little bit suspicious about this person. It's nothing you think about consciously, it's unconsciously. So it's like, and it goes like fast as a second, and you get this feeling in your body that says to you, okay, be a little bit careful. This is a stranger. Maybe I should not trust that person. And for ages ago, that was a good thing to have to survive and to be suspicious about strangers. But today, when we're going to live together and when we meet people all the time that's not in our group and that we are not used to see, we need to be aware of this, that our brain works in this way. And it's the same, we have a tendency to like people in our own group and put more positive thoughts in that group. And we have a much more tendency to think that the ones over there, the other ones, they're over there, and put negative attributes to them. We don't think they are as good as we are. And as I said the last time, that we people think we have more values driven than we are. And that's a problem but it's also very obvious that because I want to treat people the same. You, I'm sure, 100% sure you want to treat people the same. You don't want to be a person that, okay, if it's a stranger, I'm going to be suspicious. If it's a stranger, I'm not going to give them the same chance and opportunity in the beginning. I'm going to wait a little bit. You don't want to be that kind of a person. You want to be a person. Most of us want to be a person that treats people the same. And when we think we're a values-driven person that treat people the same, and at the same time, you have this reaction in your brain, you're not able to take responsibility for the feelings and the thoughts and the behavior that comes out from you from that thought. But that therefore it's so important when you're working with diversity and inclusion and gender equality, diversity and inclusion. It's so important to start to build knowledge about this, because otherwise you cannot start to build the processes, the changes, to open up and to realize that it's also about me. I also have to change, and I have to be aware of this in my everyday life. And there is a lot of different biases that we have, things that happen unconscious in our brain that we are not aware of, that makes us react and gets feeling that we take as a truth, but it has nothing to do with, it's far away, always has anything to do with the person we have in front of us or the situation we are in. It's just our brain that just processes unconscious, like all the information that goes in our brain to warn us if we should be careful or not, if we should like this person or not, if we should invite the person or not invite the person. And then there is like also like bias that makes you want to like add to act and to behave similarly as the group you are in. And at the same time, it's very important for different people to fit in. And it's very important for all of us to fit in. Even if we don't have the same beliefs in the ground, we act and we do the similar behavior talk and that at the groups does. And we're not aware of that we act in the same way as the group. It just as something we do because we want to be likable, because we want to be accepted. And it's very easy for us to put like opinions about another person, that it's all about our thoughts, our values, and what we had experienced that has nothing to do with the person in front of us. And we talk about the recruitment in organization. The problems is that we get thoughts about an employee, even if you just see the letters, you get a lot of opinions that has nothing to do with the reality. And then we come also to the gender bias, for example, and it's a huge service that did for way back, and that have been done all over again. I don't know if I told you the other 2 times about this, but it's a survey where they have applications for a leader role. And the only thing they did, they put the male's name at the one letter and the female's name on the other letter. But the skills and everything, the letter was exactly the same. But everyone, or too many, thought was thinking about the one with the male's name was a much better leader, was a much better fit to this new position. And he was much more likable than she was. And the same thing when they did the change and they put a European name and an African name. And it was the same. People had a tendency to like the European name letter, see that person as a leader more, and then with an African name. So this is all about unconscious bias, because I'm quite sure if you ask those people before, do you make any differences between men and women? Do you make any differences between if it's an African or European person? Most of us person would say, no, I would never do that. I'm very, very aware of this. And that's the same as I said before, when we go out and ask organizations to, we make service over the situation, the executive board says, okay, we have some problems, but we really treat people the same. We think that's very, very important. But when we go out and ask in the organization, we can find out why they have conflicts, why they have problems, why they don't attract and retains the talents, because especially then the ones who's not like in norm for that organization, they go then to other company that they know that their skills and they have the same, the skills are taken care of, and where they know and or hope that they have the same opportunity and to be included as anyone else. I have another example with another survey that is almost the same, that it was this case study where a professor put like for an application also for a role. It was a man's name and a woman's name. And what they could figure out that when they put that out to different groups, it was like the man's name on one and the woman's name on the other. The students said that they had about the same skills and the same good experience, but the man was a little bit more likable than the woman. And they even felt that she was a little bit too much not so sympathetic as he was, because she was a little bit cold, and she was not at all likable. And when we go out and ask, if you should go out and ask random 100 people to put what is a typical leader role, not what is a political correct, what do you think people would say is a typical leader, a typical man, and a typical woman? You would find the same words and the same skills for leaders and men, and you would find the total opposite for women and leaders. And that's also about unconscious bias, because at the same time we want women to come up as leaders, and when we have the norms, as I told you about last week, they need to be accepted from the ones who's in the norm to be okay, you're welcome. But most of the women that manage to come to a leader role, they have to take a distance to everything that has with women and the feminists and everything to do. They adapt the way to be. So they still adapt the way that is very norm for what a leader, and that norm is very typical what we like for a man. And then the women's get the other problems, that if she behaves like a man, she's not as likable, and she's not seen as sympathetic and good enough as a man. When he has the same way of behave, he's seen like a man with power. And also from survey shows that it's not at all the same. It's a negative correlation between women and success and power. And a survey that shows that it's a positive correlation between power, success, and men. And that's a big problem. And if we are not aware of this, and if companies says and leaders said, oh yeah, I know we have problems to attract and retain talents in our organizations, we have problems to attract women to a higher position in our organizations, we really want them to come up. And if you don't understand this, if you don't work first with the inner organization, with the norms, with the power, with the unconscious bias that people have, and with the psychology behind, because I think also that we need to be, people don't do this because they want to do that, because they want to be a mean person. They do it because it gets feelings, and it's for them, it's the truth. And therefore it's not good when you have process in the organization too, when you're going on your gut feeling, because the gut feeling it's a lot about the unconscious bias. And then you have a lot of you interpreted it in the way that is your experience from the beginning, and it has nothing to do with the other person. Maybe it has, but that's just the circumstances that made it. You have to find out. So what I would love to do, it's last time, maybe you haven't seen the ones, it's look at the session for last week about the structure, the norms, and the power that is to be a person in the norms. And also to be aware of this with unconscious bias, because I think that's working together very strong. And to just think about, when am I in a norm? And what does that mean to me? And what kind of privilege does it give to me? And when am I outside the norm? And what does that mean that I'm lack of privilege because I'm outside the norm? And also think about your own unconscious bias. When you're in different situations, and when you at work or private or whenever it is, like be aware of your own unconscious bias. And also maybe also think about, because it's a problem also, many people are blind for being discriminated because they put this also to themselves, to their own personality. So it's not just that you looking at other people in that way, it's also about you adapt that too. The norms of society is about leaders, about women, about men. You adapt that too. So you're not even aware sometimes when you don't have the same opportunity. When it's discrimination, you just adapt the way that is the norm in the society and the organization that you're in. So that was a little bit for today about the psychology and the norms. But I think this is so important. It's not just important for organizations and leaders, it's for everyday life. And to be able to include people for real and to understand where you need to take responsibility for your own thoughts. And when you have thoughts about the person, take a step back and try to figure out, is this about me or is it real about the other person? And then maybe you can understand, okay, this is about me. I'm not used to be around this kind of person. I'm not used to work with this kind of person. It could be an age, it could be a gender, it could be ethnicity, it could be about everything, way to dress, background. It's so much that comes in with diversity. So when you meet a people, get a bad feeling, try to say, okay, maybe it's my unconscious bias that's doing this to me and give me this feeling. I should give this person a second chance and don't take it for the truth. So now I'm going, is it any questions or anything?
We'll do the questions after the live, Camilla.
Yeah. So that's what I want to leave you. Of course, this is a big, huge subject, and it's not. And one of the challenges is it's not easy to work with, because if you are a grown-up person, you have been like reacting in this way your whole life, and it's not easy. And even if you are aware of it, it's still not easy, because everything comes so automatic and it's unconscious. So next time I will go on and I will talk about the values and increasing driven leadership and how much that profit the leadership and profit the organization. So next time I'm going to talk about and get in more to the leadership role and what you can do as a leader and what kind of knowledge and understanding it's very important for you to be a gender diverse, included and included leader. Because as I said last time, to work with inclusion, it's not only about being a nice person. It's not just about being kind. It's very important you are a nice person, that you're kind to people, especially if you're a leader. But inclusion is so much more. And I think very many times when we go out in an organization and I talk to leaders and coach them, they'll really think, but I'm nice to everyone. I say hello and I am nice, but it is about so much more. So next time I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. So thank you very much for me, and I see you next week. And I want to also talk about my membership program that I'm creating right now. It comes out in October, November. If you're interested in it, just have a short one-to-one to find out more what it's all about. Please contact me. Here's my mail, my phone number, and even my contact on LinkedIn. So please contact me if you're just curious or just want to ask some questions, or if you're also curious about the membership program. So thank you for me, and see you next week.
Another fantastic workshop. Thank you so much, Camilla. And if you can then share for me, that'll be fantastic. Thank you.
No, I want my picture to be on.
I just want to be there. Before we stop the live, we've got a few people on, so we just have a quick pitch just at the end of this live, and then I will stop the live. So firstly, over to you, Heather. Oh, you mute. I muted everybody. You didn't realize.
You think I'd know. You'd think I'd know after a year and a half of doing this. Good morning, everybody. Lovely to see all my lovely friends in Sweden. My name's Heather Barry. I have a business partner, and we run my Business Links Cafe. And we are basically an online support platform to work with growing owner-run businesses to really get you to be where you want to be. You're brilliant at what you do, but actually you need support of a great community. You need to learn. You need to be inspired by the experience and the knowledge of others. We have live learning lounges. We do LinkedIn engagement. We do all sorts of things online, but we've just launched our goal setting program. So it's kind of sort your stuff out and know where you're going, and we'll help you get there. That's what we do. Thank you.
I love that pitch. Well done, Heather. Sort your stuff out.
Well, there's another word in there, but I'm being polite because
yeah. I get that. I was glad that you actually changed that word. Over to Jiten, please.
Hi, everybody. My name's Jiten. I'm a financial advisor based over in Sweden. It's similar to Heather, what Heather actually said. You know where you are now, you know where you want to get to, but you don't know how to get there. My job is to show you how to get there. And that's basically what I do for people. Just let's talk. Thank you.
Brilliant. And please reach out to Jiten. He really wants to connect with people and help you become, and just help you look at your wealth.
Yeah.
Is Emily or Deb's on? Does anybody want to say anything? Emily's there. Go for it, Emily.
I didn't even realize that the camera had stopped working again. Yeah.
Okay. Stop.
So for anybody who doesn't know me so far, my name is Emily. I'm working in organizational identity and future of work. So I'm actually probably somewhere in between. I guess a lot of people, everybody that is working as a small business owner is probably helping somebody get from A to B. I would help clarify that point that they're trying to get to as well, and make sure that as you're on the way there, everybody else is going to see the same thing, so that you don't end up having a disconnect between people that you work with or people that you sell to and what you're actually trying to do.
Brilliant, thank you. And you're based in Sweden as well, aren't you, Emily?
Based in Sweden, yeah.
Yeah. And I know Debs is busy, so I'm assuming Debs is our relationship expert. So if anybody wants to reach out to Debs, then she helps women between at the age of 40. I'm waffling now because I've just thrown myself in at the deep end. Helps to remove the mask and helps them with their relationships, whether it's with a spouse, with a parent, with children, whatever. So reach out with Deb. She is amazing. And my name is Claire Rees, and I'm the Introbiz franchise director. And in Introbiz, we are a networking company, and we love to connect people and help people grow through connections. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Join us next time with myself, Claire Rees, and Camilla Mindegrenet, and all our